You may want the newest and the best camera out there, but do you even need it? Now, cause look, I can take the newest camera and I can take an older camera, and the older camera might look even better. It all depends on what you use, what your settings are, how to actually export your footage, and if it even matters for what you're filming. Now, for me, I've used several GoPros, and that's the camera that I would personally go for. But now, there's so much cameras on the market, and it's so hard to choose. So what I've learned is that the newest cameras don't even matter. Now, I'm not saying to go out and buy some cheap knockoff camera, because of course you're not going to get the best footage. Now, these newer cameras are kind of the same. Take a look at this. Here's the GoPro 10 versus the 11. Now, with FPV and with all the things I've looked at, I think they look the exact same. Now, if you want to be all technical and saying how this one's better, this one has better settings, what the end result is mainly matters. So if you look at this, here's the GoPro 7 versus a GoPro 11. Now the only reason I'd go with the newer GoPro is so I can use real steady. But other than that, I could use a GoPro 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the list goes on. Only reason I'm not doing a 7 is because real steady doesn't work the best, and I still use this GoPro all the time. And I've filmed some of my best shots on this. With these cameras, you can kind of see a little bit of difference. Maybe from the 7 versus the 10. And out of all this, there's one thing that will either make or break your video, and that's your export settings. Now, if you're just posting this directly from your GoPro, then you should be fine. But if you're going to do some editing, you have to make sure that your export settings are correct. I would recommend watching a few other videos because I'm not the most advanced at this, and I'm still learning. What I've learned is that a lower bitrate can kind of destroy your footage. Because take a look at this. Now, this is the same footage, just different bit rates. If you look at the grass and the trees on the lower bitrate, they kind of look all smushed together and pixelated. Where with the higher bitrate, it looks more clear and you actually have data within those areas. Now, there's always a downside. You can have the same file be a few megabytes, or you can have it go up into the gigabytes. So you just need to make sure that you have both of these settings correct, and you also need to make sure that you have your settings correct, because then you can get the best footage, and I also have a video on that. But now you don't need to think about getting a new camera and having to waste all your money on something that you might not see a major improvement in. Now hopefully you kind of appreciate your camera more, and you know what to do with your camera, how to get the highest quality out of it, kind of what to do with it, and that you don't always need to be upgrading and buying the newest and greatest camera. I'm Zane Shaw, and keep flying.